Hey, what is up guys? Before I start this video, I want to thank all of you for the amount of views and love you guys gave to my last video. It really means a lot to me, and due to its success, I chose to make another video like it for today. In this video, we're going to be ranking all OG Chapter 1 seasons in Fortnite. I would have ranked all seasons, but after Chapter 2 hit, I, like a lot of other loyal players, stopped playing the game for a while. And since then, I have been on and off from the game, and only really play when a good season releases, which recently hasn't been the case. Though despite that, I did play a lot of each season of Chapter 1 to rank for this video today. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and without further ado, let's get into the video. Fortnite Chapter 1 Season 1. Season 1 is what started Fortnite, and as someone who played in this season, it's really crazy to see nowadays how rare it is to find someone who also played in the season. This season introduced a lot to the table for players and created a whole new era in gaming. Nowadays, when you hear the term Battle Royale, you probably roll your eyes and sigh, wishing it just be said and done already. Though back in Chapter 1, Season 1 of Fortnite, it was a super fun and fresh concept, one of which had only been used in a handful of other games. Now, don't get me wrong, Fortnite did not invent Battle Royale, I know that. But in my opinion, it is what truly set the genre to success. In earlier Battle Royale games such as PUBG or H1Z1, you had a large map and it took a lot more time for games to finish. There were a lot of campers and it was very slow paced because of that. Though when Fortnite was released, the color scheme of the game was bright and colorful. The map was big, but not near as big as previous Battle Royale game maps. You had landing locations like Pleasant Park, Retail Row, and Salty Springs that were all super unique and became iconic for Fortnite players. And then it added the new iconic mechanic for that time that made Fortnite stick out. That mechanic was none other than building. Nobody had ever thought of this before when designing a Battle Royale game. This mechanic made the game a lot more fast-paced, and it took a very long time for players to start mastering how to build in the game due to the mechanic being so new. This made the game, for the time being, feel a lot more balanced due to everyone being new to the building mechanic. It also helped with campers in the game and made it harder to do since you could break walls, ceilings, and floor for materials now. Season 1 also introduced a new marketing tactic that is more frowned upon today but was somewhat liked by players back then. See, when Fortnite came out, games like Call of Duty were using gambling tactics in order to gain money from their players. Players would spend money on supply drops back in 2016's Black Ops 3, but yet still wouldn't be guaranteed a good skin or item due to the items in the supply drop earnings being randomized. Meaning, players would spend large amounts of money and time to get certain weapons and skins for the game and wouldn't even be guaranteed that item or skin, making the game seem unfair and greedy, as some players would have guns that other players didn't have, simply because they either got lucky from a supply drop or they spent a significant amount of money on supply drops. Though, when Fortnite came into the picture, they introduced the item shop, which wouldn't allow players to buy or earn certain weapons in the game. Instead, it was simply an in-game shop specifically for people to buy a specific skin in the game. Now, this marketing tactic obviously is a lot more popular nowadays, but back then it felt new and like a breath of fresh air. Overall, Chapter 1 Season 1 was a very good introduction and it started a new era not only for Fortnite, but gaming overall. Therefore, I'm going to put Season 1 into A tier. The only reason I'm not going to put it into S tier is because as much as it introduced in terms of gaming, the game was still very plain compared to the chapters that came after it. Fortnite Chapter 1 Season 2. Season 2 is the season that brought the stakes for Fortnite a lot higher. This season is what made Fortnite as popular as it is today, in my opinion. The map was changed in a lot of ways, and a lot of new iconic map locations were added. Locations such as Tilted Towers, Shifty Shafts, Snobby Shores, and more became very popular and iconic to old and new players. Also, due to the season coming out near Christmas time of 2017, the item shop had Christmas-themed skins, which became very popular to players. This season also introduced another new marketing tactic that nowadays is in almost every online game imaginable: the Battle Pass. A pass where you could acquire 100 new cosmetics if you did challenges within the game. This pass was about $10, which was viewed as a very good deal by players, due to the fact that the same price in Black Ops 3 would only get you 5 supply drops, adding to 15 cosmetic items in total. Not to mention the fact that the cosmetics given in Black Ops 3 weren't going to be guaranteed to be good. Though, moving away from the Battle Pass, new items were also added in the game that made certain mechanics in the game a lot more efficient. The biggest example of this is the new mini shields. One mini shield would give you 25 health in a very short amount of time compared to the Season 1 big shield. Though this shield would be capped at 50 shield, meaning you could only use 2 mini shields at one time. This made healing a lot more fast-paced, and the big shield became a little less popular from players since the mini shield took less time to consume. And with the game being a lot more fast-paced, this became a huge necessity to players. You also had new weapons such as the crossbow, minigun, and the silenced pistol that were also introduced. Now, compared to later seasons, these newly added weapons weren't as good as the ones to be introduced later down the road. But due to the concept being fairly new, this became another reason for players to hop on Fortnite. Overall, this season is a very beloved season and one that became iconic for its balanced gameplay and new concepts. Due to this, I am putting Chapter 1 Season 2 into S tier. Chapter 1 Season 3. Chapter 1 Season 3 went a little bit more downhill compared to the season before it. It wasn't necessarily a bad season by any means, but rather an eventless season. The season didn't really bring anything new to the table besides a new battle pass and some new weapons. This season brought a very iconic battle pass that really went head to head with the success of the previous battle pass in Season 2. This battle pass was a space-themed battle pass, and its final skin and the progression for it still remains very iconic today. This skin was labeled as the John Wick skin as it had a similar appearance and clothing style as the iconic Keanu Reeves character. Obviously, nowadays, movie-related skins are constantly added to Fortnite and almost has become routine in terms of what comes out in the item shop or battle pass. But the John Wick skin in Season 3 was the first of its kind. It was a big deal at the time that there was a movie-related skin in the game, even if it didn't completely look like John Wick, and that it was obviously intentional for the skin to have similarities to the iconic movie character. Besides that, the developers released new weapons to players, and this time they were almost overpowered in a lot of cases. There were weapons such as the hand cannon, the guided missile, the hunting rifle, and the heavy shotgun. Now, most of these weapons weren't necessarily overpowered until later in the game when they received buffs. But even with them not initially being super overpowered at release, they still remain way better than the previous weapon releases in Season 2. There were also items released in the season such as clingers, portaforts, and C4s. And one thing that I have yet to mention about the season is that this is the season that introduced us to the Llama Supply Crate. A supply crate full of high amounts of consumables and materials for players. The Llama Supply Crate was also somewhat rare to find as it randomly spawned on the map at the start of the game. Finding a llama back then was almost like winning the lottery, except this lottery wasn't life-changing. It just gave you a better chance to get the win. Overall, Season 3 was a decent season. It introduced a few things that became extremely beneficial to Fortnite overall. Though due to it not introducing as much as the previous two seasons, I'm going to put Season 3 into B tier, but don't get me wrong, I still enjoyed this season. Chapter 1 Season 4. Season 4 is the first season of Fortnite that I ended up getting somewhat tired of. This season did introduce a lot of new things and concepts, though it also destroyed very iconic locations on the map that I personally landed at all the time. The introduction of this chapter shows a meteor crashing into the beloved Dusty Depot landing spot, and honestly, as much as people like Dusty Depot, that to me wasn't the worst thing that was destroyed. The factory that was next to Dusty Depot was what hurt me most, as it was my favorite place to land at that time. This decision from developers may be a little bit resistant to the season, though the season did introduce a lot as well. First off is the big event towards the end of the season. No other game at this time had come out with a specific timed event in a game. I still remember hearing about the event and asking all my friends how they thought the event would happen. From what I remember, none of my friends really had a guess. It was just something that was so unimaginable at the time. Though that also made for a better event experience when it finally happened. A missile-like figure lifted off into the sky in an ongoing game as the players watched. Then the missile ended up putting a laser target on Tilted Towers, one of the most beloved spots to land in the game at that time. This really got people thinking that that location would be destroyed next, but luckily that wasn't the case as the missile right before the impact teleported from what we now know as a rift, which I'll explain soon. The missile then launches into the sky and disappears while leaving a gigantic rift in the sky. It was a sight to behold to see this in action for the first time. I'm so happy I was there to witness it as well. Besides that, the Battle Pass brought some new elements to the table as some of the skins in the Battle Pass could be customized and progressed. These specific skins had challenges in order to max out the customization for the skins. This also was a really cool concept and one that Epic Games still has to this day. Overall, the season brought a lot of new things to the table, though due to the big map changes such as the destruction of Dusty Depot and the next door factory, I don't think I can put this into S tier. Instead, I'm going to put Chapter 1 Season 4 into A tier. Chapter 1 Season 5. Chapter 1 Season 5 is hands down my favorite season of Chapter 1. I have so many fond memories of this season, including one where I waited for its release. I still remember my 2 online Xbox friends and I were staying up till midnight waiting for the new season to release, though soon that turned into one friend as the other one's mom came in, found out he was awake still, and got the belt out. Wait. When this chapter finally released, I was so amazed by the battle pass. You had 2 really good standout skins such as the Drift and the Ragnarok skin. Both of these skins put me in awe right away with their super unique design. We also had some pretty big map changes, though this one, in my opinion, was actually one that was necessary. We got 2 new locations on the map along with a few unnamed locations as well. The 2 named locations were none other than Lazy Links and Paradise Palms. Both of these locations replaced other locations on the map. Lazy Links replaced Anarchy Acres, while Paradise Palms replaced Moisty Mires. I think the main reason I think this map change was a lot better than the one in Season 4 is because both of the locations that were replaced either had another location just like it, like Anarchy Acres being pretty much the same as Fatal Fields, or it had no purpose in the game at all due to it not having much loot like Moisty Mires. At first I was a little disappointed with the fact that Anarchy Acres was replaced, but soon I realized how much the change made sense in the end. Another thing that was added were the golf carts, the first Fortnite vehicle that could be used by players. This helped players get around the map a lot quicker than previous seasons, and in some cases it could be used to escape gunfights. Another big change added were the rifts and the rift to goes. Rifts were placed around the map while the rift to goes were portable items you could hold in your inventory, though both allowed players to redeploy in the air and glide to other locations. This once again made the game's mobility a lot faster, and it also helped you get out of tense gunfights. We also had more really good weapons introduced in this season. You had weapons like the heavy sniper, the compact SMG, and then you had once again another item that could make getting around the map a lot easier, the grappler. A gun that could rappel you into the air and on top of surfaces without the need to build. I really enjoyed Season 5, and like I said before, it is truly my favorite season of Chapter 1, so due to that, I am putting Season 5 in S tier. Chapter 1, Season 6. Now, Season 6 was in a way a letdown of a season. With the success of Season 5 that came before it, Season 6 did not live up to the hype or my personal expectations. The season felt all over the place as we were introduced to more live events, this time with the purple cube people called Kevin. This season felt like they took the success of Season 4's events and ran it into the ground. As we follow Kevin the Cube, it wasn't as hype nor as fun of a concept for an event as the one in Season 4 was. First we had the island of Loot Lake in the air, which wasn't all that bad, but then we had the corruption zones that were the first forced zombie DLC for the game. That's right, a battle royale game with zombie zones. This became one of the worst ideas for Chapter 1 by developers. There were countless clips of streamers in the endgame that don't even lose to a player. They instead died to a nearby zombie zone that they're stuck in.
Dead incoming in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It was a very unfair and unnecessary addition to the game that felt like it was only there to add something new to the season. And I get this season came out during Halloween, and that's also a reason why the zombie zones were added, though I still think there could have been a lot of other better ways of implementing a Halloween-themed addition into the game. The battle pass to the season was also very boring. The only good skin that remains iconic to this day in the Season 6 battle pass was the Calamity skin, which is literally the first thing you unlocked. Due to this, it felt very unrewarding. Then there were moments where Epic Games got a little greedy. A lot of loyal players that played during Season 1 were holding on to their rare skins. It became a way of showing how long the player had been playing the game for. Then Epic Games announced that one of the big rare skins of Season 1 was going to return to the item shop. This skin was none other than the Skull Trooper. This decision killed the fun of having a rare skin in the game, and it only got worse afterwards. Even though this seemed like a big cash grab and a punch in the face to the OG players, I will give Epic Games credit for at least adding a purple variant to the Skull Trooper that was only available to the people that had purchased it back in Season 1. But overall, this season felt very underwhelming and it felt very unnecessary in a lot of ways as well, although I still don't think it was bad by any means. Due to this, I'm going to put it into B tier as it was a very middle of the road season for Chapter 1. Chapter 1 Season 7. I don't know what it is about the early Fortnite seasons and Christmas, but for some reason they always went hand in hand super well. Season 7 was a massive improvement from Season 6. First off, the Battle Pass was 100 times better than the previous one, and the map change was a lot better as well. In the bottom left corner of the map, we got a new snow biome area. This snowy part of the map introduced 3 new name locations: Frosty Flights, Polar Peak, and Happy Hamlet. Now, I will say, as much as I like this season, it also contains some very awful new ideas that were put into play by Epic Games. One of the big ones being the Infinity Blade. Everyone who played during this time of the game is probably rolling their eyes just watching me talk about this atrocity. The Infinity Blade was a weapon that was only located in Polar Peak. There was only one on the entire map, in fact. If picked up by a player, that player would only be able to have the Infinity Blade in their inventory, leading to all other items being automatically dropped. Now, you may be thinking to yourself right now, well, that sounds more like an awful item rather than an awful idea. This couldn't be farther from the truth. The Infinity Blade, despite being the only thing you were able to wield at once, was extremely overpowered and broke the game for a while. It gave the player who used it special powers, dash abilities, and a heal function while holding it. If someone knew how to use it right, which wasn't very hard, it could be the game ender right then and there. It was just super overpowered and became the first weapon added to not be an ordinary gun in Battle Royale mode. Now, despite that, the planes were also introduced in the season, which gave players even more fast-paced mobility around the map. Now, in my opinion, these were also somewhat annoying. Not quite as bad as the Infinity Blade, but it still had a lot of negative qualities to it. Not only did these planes add extra mobility if required, but they also had a machine gun in order to shoot players below you from the sky. This became a little bit of an issue. In my opinion, it was more overpowered towards builders who were building structures or forts than it was for just simply killing someone with their machine gun turrets. This is because the bullets from the plane turrets were more spread out, making it harder to hit shots on a small target such as another player. It was more efficient when hitting someone who's building from a high spot and knocking them down to their death after shooting the structure down. Overall, this season was still a very good season, and despite a lot of overpowered things being introduced in this season, it still remained mostly a fun season to me. Due to this, I'm going to put Season 7 into A tier. Chapter 1, Season 8. And now we're on to the season of Chapter 1 that is, in my opinion, the worst. This season felt very out of place and unnecessary. Almost like the Epic Games developers were just scrambling for ideas to implement into a new season, regardless of how bad the ideas themselves might have been. This season was none other than the pirate season that brought a volcano into the map along with a jungle surrounding it. Not only that, but after Lazy Links had been released only 3 seasons prior to Season 8, it was already put onto the chopping block and turned into a new location called Lazy Lagoon. Honestly, even after the fact that this was one of the more recent seasons in Chapter 1, I honestly don't remember half of the things this season contained compared to all of the seasons before it. This season was just pointless and effortless, and soon many players realized this and switched over to the new popular Battle Royale game at the time, which was Apex Legends. Apex Legends, from what I remember, was actually the closest game released to kill Fortnite at the time. There were games before it like Call of Duty's Black Ops 4 Blackout mode, which was pretty much another Battle Royale based game. Though in that case, the game didn't last for long at all, due to it feeling a lot like an out-of-date Battle Royale game like PUBG, plus the lack of quality and updates put into it after its release. Apex Legends, on the other hand, was a new Battle Royale game that did feel new, and it added a new thing that was never added to a Battle Royale game before: a respawn card. This allowed players on your team to respawn you if you had already been finished in the game. This made the game a lot more unique, and Epic Games actually eventually ended up copying this idea from Apex and implemented it into Fortnite as the reboot van. Though back to Season 8 of Fortnite, with Apex racing to the top of the charts at the time and taking a lot of Fortnite's player base, Fortnite decided to make a decision that was simply a desperate cry for players to come back to their game disguised as a generous giveaway. For the first time ever, they made the Battle Pass free for Season 8. Now, this ended up working somewhat in their favor during this race between Apex Legends and Fortnite, and to this day I thought it was such a cheesy and unprofessional marketing tactic. Despite that, the Battle Pass itself was also very underwhelming. The skins were very complicated and lacked the simplicity and design quality that the previous Battle Pass skins had. It also felt very random, as you had a pirate unlocked in Tier 1 and then a lizard-like character unlocked in the final tier. I still don't understand the thought process there, but whatever, I guess. The only thing that was legitimately somewhat memorable in this season was the event that let players decide all around the world which gun they wanted to unvault and have back on the battlefield once again. This gun that was picked was none other than the Tommy gun that came out in Season 4. As someone who adored this weapon and voted it to be unvaulted in this event, I was very happy with the results. Though that choice was soon overshadowed when in the same event, the volcano on the map exploded and destroyed not only one, but two beloved locations on the map, Retail Row and Tilted Towers. This became very controversial and became a slap in the face for players as well, as we had to wait about a week for both locations to be restored into a new version for Season 9. Overall, I felt like this chapter was definitely the most disastrous season of Chapter 1, and the only reason I'm not going to put it into D tier is because of the Tommy gun being brought back in this season. Due to this, I'm going to put Chapter 1, Season 8 into C tier. Chapter 1, Season 9. After the large failure of Season 8, we were granted a somewhat better season for Season 9. It wasn't perfect and it wasn't as good as the season as I had hoped, but it still held up towards Season 8. This season was none other than the futuristic season, where Tilted and Retail were restored in a new way. After both locations were destroyed in Season 8, they became futuristic versions of their old selves. Now, I had mixed feelings towards this decision. I liked the fact that they were trying something new and it looked very appealing to the eye, though at the same time it took away a lot of the old feel Fortnite had had in the past. The natural look of the buildings in Tilted Towers and Retail brought more of an older, abandoned look to players, and that's what made Fortnite Fortnite. But when the buildings in Tilted Towers and Retail became more futuristic, it took the feeling of the OG seasons away mostly. It just felt too modern for Fortnite. Now obviously if you've played Fortnite after Chapter 1, you know that things became way more modern in those chapters alone. But I still feel like the modern look made the game feel a lot more different. Besides that, we got a pretty forgettable battle pass this season as well. I can't think of a single skin from it that I've used after Season 9 ended. It wasn't necessarily a bad battle pass, it was just not close to being a memorable one, due to, like in Season 8, the complexity of each skin. It's almost like after Season 8, the developers forgot how to make the skins look appealing. We were also introduced to another way of traveling throughout the map in this season, which were the slipstreams. The slipstreams were tubes of air that allowed you to quickly travel through locations where a slipstream was nearby. We also got another event, but this time this one was not my favorite at all. It was a super weird and out of place event that looked like it was just there for the shock value. It was a battle between a big Godzilla-like creature and a teddy bear robot. Now just me saying that out loud right now sounds super random and goofy.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
And that's what it was. A very random and pointless event. Now the weapons added to this season were also a mixed bag. We had a super overpowered shotgun added in this season that was none other than the combat shotgun. And then you had forgettable weapons that weren't honestly all that great, such as the thermal scoped AR and the scoped revolver. Overall, the season brought a lot of stuff to the game, but since most of it was a mixed bag of good and bad, I am going to put Chapter 1, Season 9 into B tier. Chapter 1, Season 10. Oh man, does this one hurt me. The final season of the iconic Chapter 1 map with a trailer that looks so appealing, and as if this season would be the best season ever. In the trailer, the OG Dusty Depot and the OG factory returned along with the meteor that had destroyed it back in Season 4, frozen in time in the sky above it. Sounds super cool, right? Well, as much as that part was super cool, a lot of other things added ruined it completely. This season had so much potential, and it really disappointed me in the end. The big thing that was added that completely ruined the season and broke the game for the entirety of the season was the mech suit. And I thought the Infinity Blade was bad in Season 7, well it had nothing on Season 10's mech suits. A big Titanfall 2-like robot that had a stupid amount of health that players could hop into and control. Not only that, but with turrets and rockets that would lock onto players. This idea was so bad and I still can't believe it was put into the game in the first place. Players were begging, even pro streamers were begging, for the removal of the mech suit. And what did Epic Games do? They completely ignored us and left the mech suit in the game for the whole season. It really baffles me how much Epic Games screwed this season up. Now, despite the atrocious mech suits, the battle pass for the season was one of the best, not only for this chapter, but all chapters overall. This battle pass had all the iconic skins from previous OG seasons with a newer and more modern look to them. This time I thought the modern look appeared way better than what Season 9 was trying to go for. Towards the end of the season, we were given specific zones in the map that changed the look of the location and even changed the gameplay in some ways. From what I remember, Tilted Towers was turned into Gotham City for a while and then turned into a western town called Tilted Town. In Tilted Town, you weren't able to build unless you were outside of the dome. This whole idea was cool and all, but it was also a mixed bag for me as I wish they had left Tilted alone with all of the changes that had recently been given at the time. Overall, this season was an amazing idea, ruined by other horrible ideas. Therefore, I'm putting Season 10 into B tier, and man does that hurt me. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let me know your rankings of Chapter 1 seasons along with the season you started to play Fortnite in down below. Thank you all so much for watching, and again, thank you so much for the support of my previous Poppy Playtime video as well, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.